St. Candid House Media's presenter is Professor Lynda, the author of How to Stay in a Positive Relationship or End an Abusive One. Lynda can be seen covering popular social events and is poised to make a difference in the global community. St. Candid House Media LLC has a series of how-to and do-it-yourself etiquette shows to come. Email us to attend future shows and connect with us. Now, stay tuned for Date Etiquette.
Hello again. Welcome to Immigration Etiquette. And what do I mean by immigration etiquette? Well, here is the fact. The Trump administration prefers the deportation of certain immigrants more than others. From the 1990s, other presidents and the administrations have focused on the deportation of immigrants with criminal convictions, whether they reside legally in the U.S. or not. This new administration wants any immigrant charged with a crime to be deported, whether or not the person has been convicted. The label is whether that person has acts that constitute a chargeable criminal offense. So, for minor traffic offenses, state and local law enforcement can enforce it. The Trump administration has declared that he will deport 2 to 3 million criminal aliens. But according to the Nonpartisan Migration Policy Institute, the figure is about 820,000 unauthorized immigrants with criminal convictions in the United States. Most of them are charged with misdemeanors or unlawful entry. A total of 750,000 young people qualified for the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, otherwise known as the DACA program. What is DACA? DACA grants 2 years of permission to such immigrants to work. It also protects them from deportation, especially if they've arrived into the United States as children. This immigration forum today asks, who really deserves to live in the United States? So here's immigration etiquette guidelines. Have your passport or a pocket size of it with you at all times. Have the phone number of a relative handy. Drive safely and carefully, obeying all traffic rules and regulations when stopped by law enforcement. Be polite and do as you're told. Do not tell the officer, oh no, I know my rights. Do not carry weapons and threaten to use them. Respect the laws of the United States. Staying Positive with Lynda is now doing a segment called Immigratiquette. What it is about immigration and the proper ethics, the proper styles of living, and the way we can prepare ourselves in case of deportation. I have with me a lot of people on the panel, and all these people have relatives, and some have people that already have gone home, been deported, and some have people who are not even prepared, and some have people who have contributed to the wealth of this country. So I'd like for you to welcome a great audience here of immigration experts. Yes? Thank you all for being here today. So I will start with my first the respondent here. She would like to tell us what she thinks about the immigration climate right now in the United States.
Well, I feel like the climate right now, there's a lot of animosity, I think, on both sides. There's a lot of confusion. There's, a lot of fear. I believe, that we live in a great country. We've all come from somewhere. But I do believe that our country has put in place certain ways to become a citizen. And I don't know that everybody has taken advantage of those ways. I also don't know that everybody has been able to take advantage of those ways. So I think it is not a black and white issue. It's not something that you can just look at and say, let's just take care of it like this. Because these are people, these are lives, these are families, and it affects everybody. So I think when people make light of it or they just have a quick decision that's going to cover it all, I don't think there is a quick decision or a quick fix to a problem that has been going on in our country for a lot of years.
And what do you think about the fact that some politicians think that America should be for mostly Anglo-Saxons or Caucasians, and the rest that are colored people need to go somewhere else? Anybody has an answer for this? Mr. Jonathan or
I believe that once you mentioned that you made reference to the Statue of Liberty is weeping, I believe that obviously we are a nation of immigrants, but that we must look at the entire picture of immigration. Many Anglo-Saxons, as you mentioned, business owners, corporate giants are benefiting from the labor of undocumented individuals. So I think that when we look at that, and a lot of times they don't pay the taxes that they would normally pay. So, and a lot of these folks are out front screaming, "Send them home, send them home." So I believe that when you look at the fact that most folks in this country are working very hard, they're diligent, and sometimes they're being taken advantage of. We have to be fair as we look at solutions to deal with illegal immigration. Obviously, as I said, this is a nation of immigrants. Every individual came from somewhere generationally, so it's a complicated issue. But I believe that if we work together with the spirit of love and understanding, I think we can come to a mutually satisfying conclusion.
He thinks we should come to a mutually satisfying conclusion. What that means is that we can work with immigrants and try to get them citizenship, yes? Because immigrants contribute a lot to the economy of the United States. As a matter of fact, United States was founded by immigrants. So, Deborah, I'm sure you have a lot to say because you have got a lot of relatives who have issues now that this case is going on. And everyone feels kind of hostile and everyone is anxious. Most people are just not a little bit tense, you know.
Not so much that I have relatives, because all my relatives are citizens, but they're from the past of those relatives. And people and friends that I do know, they come to me and then I counsel them and I see what they have. So I help them and tell them that, there's a solution and we have to wait for that solution. But meanwhile, when they do come, what you're going to do? Are you prepared? So I just tell them, you got yourself prepared by giving up what you have. Sell it, get your money together. So when that day does come, you'll have yourself ready and prepared to go out.
To go home.
Yes. And wait to that special day because their children are citizens. They may not be the citizen, but their children are.
So if they're deported, what happens to their children?
Well, their children will be going back to them, but since they're a citizen, they will be able to come back. And they will be able to help their family members to work the right way. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were here 10 years, maybe. They were here 15 years, maybe they were here 5 years. But in that time, they could have done something.
Do you get a feeling that people are actually getting ready?
When they come along with me being a minister and the Word of God, I don't hold back to tell them the truth. Mm-hmm. I said, prepare yourselves. Give it up. You have plenty of wealth. God has blessed you. We are blessed. America is blessed. How many would say that America is not blessed? We are blessed.
Are we blessed?
We are blessed. I'm blessed. I am blessed.
Of immigrants. Yes.
We're blessed. My grandfather worked the fields. My father worked the fields. I tried it out. And I tried it out for a couple of seasons. I said, this is not for me.
Yes, the weather is way too hard.
It's too hard. I said, okay, Lord, give me the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding. So I went to school, and I needed it. Coming from the background that I came back, everybody said, oh, no, I don't know if she's going to make it. But when you're working with God, you're going to make it. You're going to make it.
What do you think, Dr. Ronnie Cruz? Tell us.
As was mentioned earlier, I believe Sharon mentioned that it is a complicated matter because every case is different. But I would say that there are primarily three categories of people, and they should be dealt with accordingly. One, you have the criminals, yes, and they need to be dealt with immediately, sent home, yes, or imprisoned, or some. Well, the
prisons are full. We have a big challenge there.
Well, people say, well, you can't send prisoners home. The countries won't accept them. Well, as I heard one commentator say the other day, we are a powerful country. We can negotiate something with those countries, but they need to be dealt with, number one. Number two, there are those who have families who maybe with a little help can get over the hill and can maybe meet the criteria to become citizens, paying the fees or whatever it might be, maybe a little help. And then there's a third category of those that just could have done something and they just don't care. And I think that those need to be dealt with just on a counseling basis. Do you care about becoming a citizen? Do you care about honoring? Of course, they will all say yes. No, yes, but I mean, do you care about honoring the laws of our country? And so those are the three primary groups that I think need to be dealt with accordingly, according to their situations.
Good. Jay, do you have? I'll throw this question to you. Tell me, how do you feel the climate is about immigration right now in the United States?
I believe it is a touchy situation. I believe it's more of a, let's say, more of like a hostile situation, because just like everybody is mentioning, there is a lot of different immigrant people here in the United States, and I believe it starts from that blind shoulder, turning your back on it. I mean, we all know people come here illegally, but what are we doing about it? And there's a lot of times, just like Jonathan said, in the workplace, if I can get cheap labor, I'm gonna bring it on board. I'll just tell you a little incident. I went back home a couple of years ago down in North Carolina, and the people down there were upset. And I was like, well, what are you upset about? It's because the Mexicans have moved in and took over the fields. I was like, well, why did you let them? Right? You can't be upset with something if you don't do anything about it.
Exactly. Now, maybe they're working hard. They weren't working hard enough.
Because, I'll tell you, they come in here and they work. But if you're going to let them come in here and work your land and work your stuff, then that's your problem. So there's no reason for you to be mad at them for that. But I do believe that the government, they make a loud noise about it, but there's also that part of that government that allows it to happen. And I do believe that's why it's more of a hostile situation, because now it's more of them and us. And if we get a hold of it, then things will be a lot better. Just like you said, the proper steps to becoming a citizen.
That's why we're having this program, which is called Immigration-etiquette. And I have with me a very special expert right here with us. She is the director of Bicify, a very great company. And her name is Catherine Potter. Catherine Potter, welcome to the program. Yes, Catherine Potter has answers for us in terms of Legal Shield and what we can do to have proper immigration etiquette.
Thank you, Lynda. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate that. I've been with Legal Shield since 2007, and I've heard some horror stories out there of immigration issues and people being mistreated and officers pulling people over for racial profiling. And with the Legal Shield membership, if you're a member, then you have the right to speak to an attorney. You have the right to speak to an attorney anyway, but having the Legal Shield membership gives you the right to actually call up an attorney no matter what time of day it is, and or it could be on the weekend, or if they show up at your door and going to arrest you, you have the right to speak to an attorney, which is awesome. And what usually happens is that attorney will speak to that officer. And then a lot of times that will solve the problem. But there's a lot of racial profiling, and it's a really touchy subject, like you said.
Failing to put on your seatbelt, not yielding, and not stopping at a stop sign. These kinds of simple things. Speeding is not simple, but that can get people locked up and deported. And I know a lady who simply went to Walmart to buy something, and as she was coming out, they mistook her for somebody else and put her in a police car, and boom, she was locked up. The next thing she knew, she was on her way to Mexico. And she was saying, it's not me, it's not me. And the cop was like, well, if it's not you, we'll get you an attorney, or we'll get somebody. But before they even got an attorney, she was deported. Meanwhile, she could not speak very good English. If you want to stay in a country, it is simple politeness etiquette to speak the language. How could you possibly come here and expect to impose your language, impose your culture, impose everything that's yours into another country. At least be able to defend yourself and talk to Legal Shield. Like Catherine Porter of Bicify told us. Talk to Legal Shield, make sure that there's an attorney that you can call 24/7 that will say what the problem is. Usually the attorneys know how to speak to the police, and the police can calm down and listen to them. So I do thank you. Do you have anything else to say?
Well, it's just that a lot of immigrants come into our country and they do take on somebody else's identity, like you had said. Oh, yes, they take an identity. Yeah. A mother, the police showed up at her door and arrested her for having a baby and leaving it at the hospital. And it wasn't even her, but this other woman used her insurance and went to the hospital and had a baby. Took her years to get that off of her record because DES got involved, CPS, and and so it's a pretty scary situation.
People buy homes with other people's identities and simply oh really? Yeah, cars too? Yeah. And then they don't pay it. Miss Beverly Brown is with Creative Consulting Concepts. Creative Dreams. Yes, she's here.
Creative Consulting Dreams, and thank you.
Creative Consulting Dreams. Here is Beverly Brown. And I thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. First of all, I just want to say that we're all God's people, okay? And He wants the best for us all. And as I was talking or thinking about the conversation we were having, I thought about even with slavery, how we were brought over illegally or however they did it, and they made it legal on their terms. But after a while, it was made and it was legal, and hey, now we're here. So we have to know we still have to respect God's law. Law is, under God's. And that's what we always have to respect. The sad part about it is that you have all of these horrible situations that you have to deal with, with these people on a personal circumstance. But it's still under God's law. And as far as having to build a $20 billion wall to stop it, which is senseless, to me, that doesn't make any sense because this has been going on all along. We just have to put what we need to put in place and do what we're supposed to do under the law. And that mainly is what it's all about. And trust me, my heart goes out to them because we were in the same situation. And money is always an issue that causes this. And then they don't have the money to get what they need to become legal. So, this is not just here. It's just not immigration. It's just what's going on in life, hunger, strife, bad things that's going on all over the world. This just happens to be an immigration issue because He's made it an immigration issue at this point. But the main thing is that we need to know we're all God's people. He wants the best for us, but He wants to abide by His law as well.
Yes. How can Legal Shield help us in case, assuming I'm an illegal immigrant and I don't have any money to defend myself? Is there some kind of legal aid?
Well, with Legal Shield, it's a small monthly fee, and you have unlimited legal access to be able to talk to the attorneys and get advice, letter writing, documents, read over documents, and it's so important to, when you're going through something like that, to be able to talk to an attorney, because it doesn't help when you say, hey, you talk to your brother, sister, or uncle, hey, what should I do? And they haven't been to school. They don't know all the legal ramifications that can happen. And so becoming a Legal Shield member is one way, and they will help you through the immigration process. And, and if you ever do get pulled over or stopped, you have the right to talk to an attorney. We have apps on our phone that you can just push the app and talk to an
directly
attorney. Talk to an
takes
attorney.
You to an attorney. That's
right.
Legal Shield's app or any other app?
The Legal Shield app. But then I just started with the company called Bicify, and I'm so excited about this.
Bicify. That's Buysify.
Right.
Bicify. Okay, tell us about that.
Well, it's a new device. We're a brand new company, and it's been test marketed for about 2 years now, and it's in the test marketing areas. It's been very successful. They've had phenomenal phenomenal
Success, yes.
And so now they've bringing it to Phoenix for me to market it. And what it is it's a device that business owners put in their business, and it sends out a notification that everybody drives by or walks by their business. They'll get a notification on their phone and letting them know about the sales or discounts or whatever's going on.
So
in
it's
that
another
business.
app.
It's another
The
app.
world is full of apps these days,
Yeah.
right? Wow.
And so I'm in my marketing class. I go to a college, and the marketing is 70% business owners are going to start using more technology.
Okay.
So I'm very excited
Very
about
excited.
and being able to help business owners grow their business is what it's all about. Helping
Wonderful.
them grow.
And how do you check on immigrants to see that they have the right papers before they can work for you in Bicify?
Well, I am taking applications that want to help market, and I guess
and Legal Shield can also help with
Legal
that
Shield can
as
help
well.
with
That's
sending
the
the
connection
documents.
between, in case you're wondering what the connection is between Bicify and Legal Shield. Legal Shield can help you if you are not here legally to become legal in order to work for Bicify. Am I correct?
Well, it's one of the ways.
One of the ways,
yeah.
yes, one of the
I'm
ways.
sure the company has something set up because we have to turn in all of our paperwork, and they do the background checks and all
And
that
you
to
do
make sure.
employment verification. It's called
Employment.
E-Verify. That's what it's called. Yes?
Yes.
Good.
But being able to help business owners has always been my goal, and and through Bicify, I can get in there, and the business owner will know me and trust me, and then once I do that, I can say, and this is what else I do. I can help you with your legal needs.
See,
as well.
here's another multitasker. Yes. She works for Legal Shield and now Bicify. I really appreciate your input. So, over to you. Can you tell us about the immigration climate? How do you feel? Are you tense? Do you worry for your relatives, or you don't have any issues? Fantastic. Here's one person that doesn't have any issue with immigration. Jeanette, no issue. Okay, no problems. Could you pass it down? Yes, Marcus? You okay? So somebody's happy with the immigration climate, okay, or it doesn't affect you one way or the other. Not happy. They're not happy with it. Oh, it doesn't affect you. Okay. So if it doesn't affect you, how can we help others? Can we have town hall meetings? Can we help immigrants? Can we help them with any kinds of, okay, Deborah has an idea.
Well, if you become a minister or a counselor or a teacher or of other, to help them out. Those people are out there. Give them your counsel. Give them help to direct them to the right person.
Okay, so we can give good advice to immigrants who are facing deportation. How about housing them or helping them with other
there's
things?
Shelter also back in there's plenty of shelter in the south side, and just like I said, if they come to Converting Kingdom here, we'll find somewhere, because I do know people that do have shelters that do have those locations for those people to start out. But the most important that I want to say that I started at the beginning, my family members are not in that area. I'm not. They're deceased now, and I was raised by the family that didn't have, and they did something about it. The moment they started working, the morning they started coming in, they did something about their citizenship. Good. So they can't say that here was not there was not a way. There is a way, and there is a will.
Always a way.
And
Wherever there's a will, there's always a way.
Yeah.
And Minister Jonathan has something to say about the immigration climate, which we all find
I have
host.
a recommendation that perhaps you could have a segment where we bring in business owners. We bring in folks that
He's suggesting we bring in business owners and folks that can talk to us
that
about how they do E-Verify.
Sure, well, that are affected by immigration. In the nation's capital, there was a strike a few days ago, and it affected major...
In Washington, D.C.,
Right,
there was
so-
a big strike that affected a lot of immigrants, whereby the immigrants did not want to work, or...
They didn't work, and it impacted the businesses. So
Yes.
illegal immigration is intricately woven into the fabric of our lives.
Yes, because that was how United States started in the first place,
Absolutely.
right?
So these businesses will be impacted in a major way if we don't solve the immigration crisis. That's basically what I'm saying. So perhaps if you bring in real people.
Yes, in our next segment, we'll bring in
that are
businesses
impacted.
that can, talk to us about immigration and how we can help others. And then this will round up our discussion. Has anybody else any quick conclusion? Yes.
Well, I believe that because all this is taking place, I do not encourage people to say, well, this is what's happening to these immigrants. We don't go to school. We don't go to work. We don't do this. We don't do that.
So let's stop generalizing and stop
I think I'm totally against that.
ostracizing
Yeah,
and stop stigmatizing immigrants. The immigrants do work hard.
Yes, they do.
And they do work their way towards becoming legal citizens.
And they shouldn't be
It's only
hiding.
the criminals that we are worried about.
And they shouldn't
the
be
drug
hiding.
dealers.
They
Because
shouldn't be
not
hiding.
all immigrants are drug dealers. And they should not be hiding.
They should not
They
be
should
hiding.
just face it. And then also, if you come from a certain place, be proud of where you come from.
Exactly.
Pack your suitcases. Be prepared to go there and go back home if that's what if it takes that, right?
Yes.
So on this particular conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for being on this show. And I hope that you can join me next time when we have immigration etiquette. The most important thing is do not challenge the police when they pull you over. If you run a red light, own it up, admit it, and say, yes, I ran a red light, I deserve to be punished. Do not argue with the police. Don't pull out your gun. And Catherine Porter has one more thing to say.
Give me your Bible.
That just reminded me of if you do get a traffic ticket, the attorney will actually go to court with you to
See that it gets expunged or you pay the fine.
because they know what to say and they know the judges. We're not the mafia. We can't take care of traffic tickets, but they can help you through that. And it's all part of the membership.
Exactly. So part of being a good United States citizen is having proper etiquette, being polite, being nice, being kind to the cops, even when you think they're racially profiling you. Just have a great attitude and stay positive with Lynda. And I'll see you next time. Stay tuned.